Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A Hobart man is recovering in a Queensland hospital after surviving a shark attack in the Whitsundays. 25-year-old Ryan Bowring had been working on a luxury yacht off Airlie Beach when he was bitten multiple times in the terrifying encounter.
As a shark attack victim waits for urgent help, these paramedics rush to his aid. The victim, Hobart man Ryan Bowring, the 25-year-old, moved to Queensland late last year, currently working at Southern Cross Sailing Adventures after studying at Launceston's Maritime College. Yesterday, he was taking tourists out on a 42-metre super yacht. He had just entered the pristine water when he was suddenly attacked, bitten on the right buttock and left hip and bleeding badly. Mr. Bowring managed to scramble back on board this yacht. These paramedics and rescue crew getting the call for help around 12:30, flying directly to the scene and embarking on the tricky operation. Forced to hover above this dive pontoon, winching down the crew who were then ferried to the patient. He's then taken back to the pontoon where he remained upright and conscious before being winched into the helicopter. He was lifted to the Mackay Base Hospital in a stable condition and rushed inside to undergo surgery.
He's basically just had a couple bites, or a couple love bites, I guess you could say, and you know, in all seriousness, he's a very lucky man. It's
not the first time he's come face to face with sharks, albeit in different circumstances. His older sibling saying he's recovering well today, that he spends his life on the ocean and this was a humbling and scary experience. And he'll be back in the water once his leg heals, doing what he does best. It was only in September Tasmanian woman Justine Barwick was also attacked by a shark in a similar location. Mr. Bowring, the 4th shark bite rescue attended to in the area in just 6 months. A lucky escape for the Hobart man. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
3 women remain on the run tonight after bashing an elderly Fingal man as he slept early this morning. The 76-year-old suffered smashed teeth and cuts to his head after the women broke into his home demanding cash.
Being frail in his own home and having this type of attack upon him is very terrifying and would be terrifying for anyone.
The man managed to fight off the attackers. Police described the main offender as tall, having a large build and aged in her 50s. Anyone with information can contact Crime Stoppers. A man accused of robbing a Mowbray bank in 2017 will soon learn his fate. Marcus Dennis Main denies being the person responsible for holding up staff at knife point. Our reporter Sean McComish has more.
Today, the jury heard the final arguments in the trial of Marcus Main, accused of robbing the Mowbray ANZ in September 2017. The trial, which lasted just a day and a half, heard from 6 witnesses, including police and bystanders. Much of the Crown's case relied on CCTV, showing Mr. Main meeting with staff at St Vincent de Paul, where he was given clothes. Later that day, footage shows a man walking into the bank wearing similar clothing. Prosecutor John Ransom told the jury there was little doubt both men were the same person. There's a clear replay of this armed robbery. It's clear you can be satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt. The verdict here is one of guilty. A police interview was also shown, where Mr. Main claimed to have been using cannabis and methamphetamine. He said he could not recall if he had committed the robbery. Defence lawyer Evan Hughes said 2 witnesses initially identified different suspects to police. He said Mr. Main was limping when he went into St Vincent de Paul, but added there wasn't any hobbling by the person who walked into the bank. Mr. Main interrupted the proceedings several times to speak to supporters in court. He exercised his right not to be cross-examined. Jury deliberations will begin tomorrow. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The future of 200 jobs at a Hobart Qantas call centre is uncertain as the airline adjusts its operations to social media and online communication. Employees have been told the company is offering voluntary redundancies, but the exact number of positions to go remains unknown.
The future of call centre jobs left up in the air. Qantas announcing it's reviewing its local operations and is seeking some of the 200 employees at its Hobart centre to move on.
Looking back 5 to 10 years ago, we had about 540 staff in that contact centre. That's down now to just over 200, so it is concerning that we've had such a significant drop.
But, we've got to draw a line in the sand here. This call centre has to survive. There must be no more job cuts.
But rather than job cuts, the company let staff know last week it was offering the opportunity for voluntary redundancy.
They have explained to me, in fact they have assured me, that there will be no involuntary redundancies, that they will only be voluntary.
Qantas has said in a statement the reason for the shift is due to customers moving away from voice calls to social media and other online channels to have their queries answered. But there are now calls for the airline to review its decision, given future commitment of the company's sole Australian centre only extends to 2024.
They have guaranteed that Hobart will remain open until 2024. That's concerning in itself that they're not saying that they'll maintain that longer term.
Qantas has told us many of the people working here at the call centre are approaching retirement age. The company says it expects about 30 people to express interest in the option of a voluntary redundancy.
It does raise the question though, what do they do if less than 30 put their hand up? They better not start firing people, because I and the local community will be furious with the airline.
Casey Trelaw, 7 Tasmanian News.
Tasmania is getting a new intrastate air service. Paravion is launching a regular route between Hobart and Strawn with 3 return flights a week. The 2-year trial begins in May and has been backed with $300,000 worth of state funding. The government says it hopes to boost the number of tourists going to the West Coast by cutting down on travel time. Tasmania's Police Association is leading the charge for lockout laws to be enforced in pubs and clubs on Hobart's waterfront. The union today saying alcohol-fuelled violence in the area is escalating, putting police, the public and hospital staff at risk, calling for heavy alcohol to stop being served at 11 p.m. and restricting new patrons from entering establishments from 1 a.m.
Around these licensed premises, we have to have certain numbers in place to deal with what's going to occur in the early hours of the morning. That resource would probably be better directed at other activities at other times of the day.
The Hospitality Association is against the idea, saying lockout laws are not needed. The government also confirming it's not planning on establishing them anytime soon. As the looming federal election edges closer, Labor has committed to providing better treatment to stroke victims in regional Tasmania. If elected, Launceston and Burnie will be 2 of the 41 sites across Australia to introduce a telestroke unit, providing better access to specialist care for patients. At Georgetown, the Nationals committed almost $7 million to construct a mountain bike trail network and to redevelop Regent Square. Meanwhile, the coalition government announced a $34 million pilot program to see farmers rewarded for improving biodiversity on their land.
It's around putting up shelter belts on properties, putting trees along gullyways, improving the biodiversity not only of the soil and the trees but also the animal life on that property.
An election date is still yet to be revealed. It's a world-first service assisting thousands of homeless people all over the country, including those doing it tough right here at home. And with many sleeping rough around Tasmania, Orange Sky is calling for more volunteers to lend a helping hand.
It was founded in a Brisbane garage by a couple of 20-year-olds looking to make a difference. 5 years on, and this orange van has become a symbol of selflessness and hope for those who need it most.
They know that on Tuesdays, for example, here, they can come here, the same familiar faces will be here, won't judge them, we'll just talk about, whatever they feel like.
The world-first mobile laundry service has been operating throughout Hobart for more than 2 years now, offering much more than just a clean change of clothes for the some 1,600 homeless around Tasmania.
Anyone who comes to the van can find someone to connect with. We've got volunteers ranging from 18 all the way up to 93, and those volunteers are what makes Orange Sky come to life every day.
After retiring from the business world, Colin Howe now volunteers up to 30 hours a week to manage Orange Sky's Hobart service, but with more people now using it than ever. Many more like him are needed to ensure these machines keep turning long into the future.
The more volunteers we have, the more shifts we can operate, the more washing that we can do to support people who are doing it tough in our local community, and the further we can spread out just from here in North Hobart and around town.
Definitely worth it. It's a cliche. They say you get far more out of it than you put in, but in this case I think it's very true.
To get involved, visit the Orange Sky website. Tom Cooper, 7 Tasmania News.
Hawthorn coach Alastair Clarkson says his club will not stand in the way of a Tasmanian team if the AFL allows a 19th side to enter the league. Speaking on Seven's Talking Footy last night, Clarkson says the Hawks have always been prepared to retreat from the state if Tasmania was granted its own AFL licence.
We'll continue to play down there for as long as Tassie haven't got a side, but as soon as the AFL deems it necessary to have a 19th team in the competition and that club happens to be from Tasmania, then it'll probably mean that Hawthorn return to Melbourne to play all their home games.
A deal between the Hawks and the state government to play 4 home games in Launceston each year expires at the end of 2021. In a bid to get more people into the workforce, the Salvation Army is launching a new community enterprise coffee cart. The new street-side cafe set up in Hobart is providing some with their first job in 17 years.
A fresh brew of coffee providing a fresh start for these Tasmanians. The new pop-up coffee ground cafe is set to train and employ tenants living in a local Salvation Army housing facility.
Today we're launching Coffee Ground, which is a social enterprise initiative that provides training and support in hospitality and barista skills for tenants of our Salvation Army housing programs.
The cart already employs 8 people, and Salvation Army Housing has partnered with TAFE and other employment groups to offer hospitality training and future employment pathways.
This is game changing. There's a gentleman who started work yesterday. First day he's gone to work in 17 years. So we're creating real pathways.
Melissa, once without a home or a job, is now over the moon at the exciting new opportunity.
I'd been homeless and I needed help. So over that 5 years, I've actually commenced a fine arts degree with honours, and now this opportunity for employment has come up, which is absolutely terrific.
The new lease on life now offering residents to set global goals.
I'd like the barista ticket to travel the world, actually.
The Coffee Ground Cafe is now open Monday to Friday from 7:30 a.m. Casey Trelaw, 7 Tasmanian News.
And after a decade of dominance in the 2000s, the Georgetown Football Club is primed for its best tilt yet at another flag. Former players are flocking home to the NTFA club, including a Sandful best and fairest.
It's back to where it all began for Luke Crane, whose career launched off 2 premierships for the Georgetown Football Club in the early 2000s.
It's been probably 15 years since I've been here, so to get back now is probably at the end of the career, but it's great to get back and give a bit back to the footy club.
The Flags catapulted Crane to Sturt in the SANFL, where he won the league's highest honour, the McGarry Medal, during a 7-year stint. Family and a desire to see his old club return to power lured the 33-year-old back home.
It's a long-term thing, it's not going to be a quick fix straight away. We're not expecting instant success, but to see the rise steadily over the pre-season has been fantastic.
The club's coming off a wooden spoon in 2018, a far cry from the incredible streak of 8 straight enjoyed from 2002 to 2009. Coach Alan O'Sine believes this year can be a turning point, with former TSL Premiership player Corey Nankervis also returning for round 1 against Rochalee.
There's no doubt he could be playing state league footy, but we're lucky to have him, who, again, like Luke Crane, is another local grown player, and he wanted to come back and help the boys out a bit too.
This week also marks the start of the NTFA Women's League, with Georgetown kicking it off against Meander Valley on Friday night under lights.
It just means that we can put on a show for the town and show everyone what we're capable of and build that club culture for us as well.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Almost 300 young Tasmanian netballers will have more opportunity than ever to fine-tune their skills and pursue their ambitions in the sport, with St Luke's Health partnering with the Karana Netball Club as a naming rights sponsor for the next 3 years. The deal will see additional funds committed for the rolling out of a Flames Academy program.
Developing identified players from under 11s through to under 17s who we think show potential to be future athletes.
And we really want to be involved with grassroots in the community, which is what Corunna is all about.
The 2019 State Netball League season begins on March 30. Meantime, several young Tasmanian female rowers are preparing to test themselves against some of the best up-and-coming talent in the country, with the St Michael's Collegiate School Group earning the right to compete at the Australian National Championships, having taken out the head of the Rivers Open 8s over the weekend for the first time in a decade. And the squad isn't shying away from the challenge of competing against the traditionally stronger teams on the mainland.
Although they might have a bigger pool to select from, hopefully we can still pull it together because we've been bonding the whole season. We're not just going there to make up the numbers. We do, you know, we could have a chance if we really put our minds to it.
It's also been 10 years since the school won a National Open 8 title. The team flies out to Sydney tomorrow. With bigger prize money and double ranking points on offer, Tasmania's top snooker tournament is about to get underway. The Ron Atkins Classic will feature the country's best cueists, along with the local favourite who's now on the international circuit.
Cool and calm with the cue. Cale Barrett relishes the pressure most players would crack under.
I think I like the gentleman's game about it and the respect everyone has. It's that quiet room, that really under pressure when you've got 100 people in the crowd and it's just dead silent.
For this snooker shark from Penguin, a table's never been far away.
My family's owned pubs and hotels for a few years now, so I always had a table around, and now it's something that's just in my environment now.
His skills have taken him to places like Europe and Egypt to play, but he says the home crowd is better than anywhere in the world, especially when the double ranking points on offer can turbocharge his rise up the ladder. This weekend's tournament is the second to honour the late Ron Atkins.
He's got it.
Widely regarded as Tasmania's best snooker player. Although the game is popular at pubs and clubs across the state, Barrett says playing competitively demands more than meets the eye.
People think, oh, you're just going out for a game of snooker, but when you've got back-to-back matches, you could be playing on the table for 3 or 4 hours. You know, it's mentally draining.
Play is at Launceston's Workers Club from Thursday night until the final on Sunday. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Temperatures ranged from -2 on Mount Wellington to the high of 20 today at St Helens and Eastern Point. Hobart 16, Launceston 19, Burnie 17 degrees. A few showers did continue over the west and south, just 8 millimetres at Henty Canal, while in the 24 hours to 9 a.m. Burberry recorded 62 millimetres. Friendly Beaches 18 today, Smithton, Low Head and the Islands all 17 degrees, Strawn 16, Grove and Ooze 15. Low-level clouds streamed over the state today, mainly over the west, south and Bass Strait. A cold pool of air with that cellular cloud formations moved over southern South Australia and Victoria, as well as our region. Thick cloud extends from the top end over northeastern New South Wales through to the Tasman Sea. Tomorrow the high moves over southeastern Australia, while a cold front approaches WA. The broad trough persists over the north. The winds here west to southwesterly at 15 to 25 knots, shifting northwesterly during the morning, swells at 3.5 metres. A strong wind warning for southern waters between Tasman Island and southeast Cape. Hobart a top of 21 tomorrow, a sunny day, partly cloudy for Geeveston, 19 the maximum and 20 for Bothwell after a cool evening. 21 the high for Launceston, a sunny day, possible light late shower for Devonport with a top of 20 and 21 for Cressy. Burnie tomorrow, light shower or 2, 6 overnight, 18 the high, 19 for Strawn with a light shower. Curry on King Island a light shower as well. 22 for St Helens and sunny in the east, Swansea 21 and Orford 20 degrees. UV up to a high 6. On Thursday, showers over the west coast extending to the northwest briefly, fine and sunny over the remainder. Showers in the west on Friday, gradually extending statewide. Snow to 900 metres on Saturday with showers contracting to the west and Bass Strait Islands by evening. Sunny and warm in Perth tomorrow, fine in Adelaide and Melbourne as well as Canberra. Partly cloudy and 23 in Sydney, rain at times in Brisbane, a storm likely over Darwin. And Joe, conditions fine at the moment. Hobart 14, Launceston 16 and Devonport 14.
Okay, nice to see you stuck for words for once. That's all from the team. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.